rolling. Excellent. Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I'm Derek Lemaster. I'm Derek Lemaster.
Thanks for clarifying. This is Green Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and we bring out the carving knives for this Thanksgiving feast that we went upon with this week's episode of Pilgrim. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. Life's a little chaotic, but you know.
I feel you, Lydia.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, I agree. We had a very eventful weekend, though, because we just got done with the first phase of casting for the movie. So that went really well, didn't it, Derek?
It did.
We made a lot of progress, so you'll be hearing news about that very soon. We're just giving you a little tease, but it is underway, so that was a lot of fun. Yeah. Guys, we have a lot to talk about this week with our movie. And we'll talk about the Audible that was pulled as well. But before we get into all of that, we're going to hit on next week's horror news. And I don't have a lot for you guys. It's kind of a slow week, but what I do have is, first of all, at the time of this airing, Eli Roth's Thanksgiving is out and earning really good reviews. It's at somewhere like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's great. I can't wait to see it. I haven't seen it yet. I've been busy. I was busy with work this weekend, trying to make our own movie, so I haven't got to see it, but I will, and we will review it one day. Yes?
Yes.
Oh, show.
Definitely.
Probably next Thanksgiving.
Next year. Yep, I think you're right. So, guys, this is the first bit of horror news. The Exorcist Believer is starting to play on Peacock in December. Oh. So it hits the streaming service on December 1st, actually. So here in about 2 weeks, it's going to smash on to Peacock. So that way you guys can watch it, and then maybe we can review it.
And this is the one that's in theaters now, right?
Yes, the one that played theaters, yeah. Yes. So, I know I've told you guys kind of how I felt about it. I mean, it wasn't a bomb by any stretch. It made $130 million at the box office. But it also cost them, $500 million to get the rights to The Exorcist. So, starting to kind of make a little bit of money, maybe. I don't know. So it's, but it did make $130 million. It didn't get the best reviews. And I felt a certain way about it that I will discuss with when we do it. But I think that should be one in the near future. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out for sure.
That's exciting that it's already out, though. I mean, that's pretty quick, right? I mean, it came out in October, so 2 months. Less than 2 months, because it came out like around Halloween time, I think, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And next, this is weird. I don't know if we even discussed this, but we have our first image of... Hang on, let me share it with you guys. We have our first image of the prequel to The Omen called The First Omen. Right here.
Ooh. That looks spooky.
Yeah, she plays... Nell Tiger-Free plays Margaret in this. And apparently, this comes out on April 5th, 2024. The tagline is, or the synopsis is, when a young American woman is sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, she encounters a darkness that causes her to question her own faith and uncovers a terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the birth of evil incarnate. It is directed by Arcacia Stevenson, and it's written by Tim Smith, Arcacia Stevenson, and Keith Thomas, who did the new Firestarter. And it's produced by David S. Goyer. So, what do you guys think of this? How do you feel about a prequel to The Omen?
I think it could be cool.
I mean, it could be cool for sure. I don't know. The track record's kind of weird with some of the newer movies. Maybe just come up with a new story.
Well, yeah, there is that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you make money with IP. I get it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I get it too. It just.
So you hinted upon it, Derek. There is we haven't done any of the Omen movies yet, and we need to. But there, you have Omen and Damien, Omen 2, and then the Final Conflict, and those were all made in the 70s, 80s, and basically 70s and 80s. And then you had the remake that popped up in 2006 that literally only existed so they could release it on 6606. It's how I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a better reason to make a movie?
No, I mean, I think that kind of covers it. But so that's interesting. But I think that I don't know exactly how to feel about this. Part of me is intrigued to see what it's about, but I don't know if I don't know what the story of a prequel for The Omen would be, because we know that the Antichrist Damien ends up existing, right? We know that. So
right. They're probably gonna pull out some kind of cool like nun character or something,
Probably, yeah.
Something spooky and evil, hopefully.
Spooky and evil. It's jackals.
Maybe a jackal. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Probably like a jackal.
Son of a jackal.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty cool, guys. Let me share this with you. The Evil Dead 2 is returning to VHS in the UK with this.
Did you say VHS?
I did, with this killer Look at this.
Oh, dang.
VHS. That's pretty cool,
Jamie,
right?
what are you feeling?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'm feeling like I want it, of course. But, I do have this edition of VHS of Evil Dead 2, which is widescreen. From like 2000, I think, is when this came out. So I do have it, but that one I could buy, but I wouldn't be able to play on an American player. I'd have to get, a British player, because it's a UK VHS. But I would love to just have the collector's edition of it. It looks great.
I didn't know they had a difference of VHS styles.
Yeah, I think there's a slight difference at it. I think you can rig it pretty easily. Technology was primitive. I think you can rig it easily to play. But yeah, I mean, they do that with all, like DVDs. PAL region won't play in ours, which is NSTC. So, like, if I bought a British DVD or a British DVD, tried to play it in an American player, if I didn't have an all regions player, I wouldn't be able to watch it. Same thing with all of those home media. But I would love it. What do you guys think of that?
That's pretty sick.
It is pretty
Looks
cool.
beautiful.
Yeah, the artwork's great. Has little lobby cards. That's cool too. I love that shit. And my love of Evil Dead 2. And my fondness of VHS collectors. As you can see, I do have also Adam Green's Victor Crowley on VHS. Signed by Adam. So I'm a fan of the VHSs. But for quality, 4K is the way to go. Always, of course. And then finally, guys, this last bit of news, I think you guys are going to be happy with or surprised with. Mike Flanagan has just wrapped on his newest Stephen King adaptation called The Life of Chuck.
The Life of Chuck.
Yes, Life of Chuck is 3 separate stories linked together to tell the biography of Charles Krantz in reverse, beginning with his death from a brain tumor at 39 and ending with his childhood in a supposedly haunted house. That's the Stephen King story.
Sounds right up his alley.
Yes, so Mike Flanagan has just directed a version of this. He says, now I'm back to LA to edit and start the long road of expectation, setting that The Life of Chuck isn't a horror movie. He described the film as a movie I want to leave in the world for my kids.
Oh.
It stars... It has a lot of people in it. Karen Gillian's in it. Jacob Tremblay's in it. Tom Hiddleston. Mark Hamill. Matthew Lillard. Heather Langenkamp.
What? Stop!
Did you say Heather Langenkamp?
Yeah. Mia Sara.
What?
Let's see. Kate
Just
Siegel,
name
of course.
A few more of my favorite people.
I know. There's a fucking lot, right?
Dang,
So
that's awesome.
Here's the thing about Mike Flanagan. I mean, obviously he makes some of the best horror movies today, but his attention to detail is just excellent. Mm-hmm. So all those little slight things that he puts in his movies, anything he does is going to be great. I'm excited. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, they said that this is similar in tone. The project was previously described as tonally in the same vein as Stand By Me, The Shawshank Redemption, and The Green Mile. So one of those King movies.
So I'm gonna cry my eyeballs out, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and if it's a Stand By Me, Mike Flanagan directed movie, get out of town, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Dang it!
Stand By Me is
my favorite movie.
Yeah, it's an all-timer. And of course, Shawshank
That's a Stephen King
phenomenal.
movie?
Yeah.
It's a Stephen King short story.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
It's based off of King story called The Body. Shawshank Redemption is a King movie. You knew that, right?
I didn't know that, yeah.
And The Green Mile is also a Stephen King movie.
Wow.
Those two movies were done by Frank Darabont, who was also the king of King before Mike Flanagan came along and decided to try to steal his crown with the excellent Dr. Sleep. And now this. So I'm excited. We will watch anything that Mike Flanagan does because he's one of this show's favorite filmmakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we'll be first in line to see that. And all those people's names I mentioned, that's wild. It just kept going.
I know. I was about to have a heart attack for a second there.
You're like, wait, who is
not
in this movie?
Slow down.
All right,
awesome.
guys. So, we're going to give you a little inside baseball. So, last week, you won't find it in the episode. Excuse me, hang on one second. My chair just decided to freak out on me. Made me shorter than I already am. What is that about? So, here's a little inside baseball for you guys. You won't find it in the episode because I cut it out. Like Joey. But last week, we ended the show by like we do every week, announcing next week's episode. And at the end of last week's episode, originally, Derek had picked... What'd you pick, Derek?
Thanksgiving.
He picked Thanksgiving. And so, last night, full disclosure, last night, we get home, Derek and I get home from the casting session. I get a text from him. And he texts the group, he texts me and Lydia, and says, "Hey guys, so we're going to watch a different movie." And I'm thinking, maybe it's not available anymore. And tell us what you said, Derek.
So it went along the lines of, hey, I watched the first 8 minutes of this movie and I just can't. I just can't.
So,
Jamie, did you take my challenge? Did you try to
I have
watch the
not.
first 8 minutes?
I did not have time to, but I will. I will.
Man, you
Derek and
can't get the minutes back.
Derek and I actually watched that years ago when it first came out, but it's been so long I don't remember barely anything about it.
Except
so
that
he
it's terrible.
Yes, so he texts that. So we decided on another Thanksgiving themed movie that was available, which is Pilgrim on Hulu. It's part of Hulu's Into the Dark series. So we've never seen it. We really never heard of it, but it was a it was a Thanksgiving movie, and we wanted to give you people a Thanksgiving movie. So that's what we did. And I'll usually, this is the point where I say, so guys, tell me your experience with Pilgrim. But all of our experience is the same, which is this is the first time we've watched it.
Numero uno.
Yep. First time I've even heard of it.
Me too, Lydia. Me too.
Yes.
Which is fun. Well. It's like a nice change of pace.
It is a bit of a nice change of pace, yeah.
That is correct. Usually we do movies that we've either seen. One of us has usually seen them. Every once in a while we'll get one that none of us have seen, especially if it's a newer one, which this one is. It was made in 2019. But we just kind of, oh, hey, let's watch this one. But usually it's, hey, let's watch this genre classic or this forgotten genre film. This is not a forgotten one. It's just a new one that we've not seen. And we had no idea what to expect. And it's a ride, right, guys?
Yeah.
Faux show.
So where do you guys want to begin with this thing? I can do a little backstory into it. I did a little bit of research after I watched it and found out
I'm interested.
that I don't have a lot of inside stuff. Like usually I have a whole list of trivia or horror information because it's usually stuff I know or have gained knowledge over the years. I just have very little. I know that this is, like I said, in the second season of the Into the Dark movies that they make. Hulu always does these Into the Darks, and this is one from 2019. It's technically episode 2, so it's the second movie released during that run. And it is directed by Marcus Dunstan and written by Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton, along with Noah Feinberg. So Dunstan and Melton were writers of some of the Middle Saw sequels, and they also were the writers, and Dunstan was the director of the collection movies, The Collector. And
the Collection. Nice.
Yeah, so it's the same. It's that Brain Trust, which I didn't know until the credits rolled, and I checked that out. That's kind of really all this, and that's all the stuff I know. That, and there's a Puka doll in Tate's room, which is another Into the Dark story, Puka, which we'll have to do because it's pretty fun. But I only know that because that's the only piece of trivia on the IMDb page. It's like, all right.
Oh my god.
Nice.
So, yeah, where do you guys want to start with this guy?
Let's start with the family dynamic because it kind of sets up everything.
That is true. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah. So this it is a father, his wife, and their 2 kids. I learned that the father was previously married. The oldest daughter, her mom died, right? And she didn't have any siblings.
She didn't die. She left.
She left.
Yeah.
She
left on Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. So she left, and then he remarried, and then he and the new lady had a son, and so now there's this family. So the oldest daughter, she's in conflict with the stepmom, and kind of leads to all kinds of mischief.
It does. So what's interesting about this movie is So yeah, that's the kind of setup. The setup is weird because we get like the dinner. They're having like a pre-Thanksgiving dinner. I guess they're just having family dinner, and it was kind of confusing because Kerr Smith, who plays the father, doesn't quite seem old enough to be her father. I think it's just a testament to how well Kerr Smith has aged. Like, he kind of looks exactly the same.
Because he could have.
Yeah, he looks exactly the same as... Well, yeah, but he looks exactly the same as he did in Final Destination. Like, he looks the same.
I agree with that, for sure. But I have... there are people that I went to high school with that have kids in college now.
Oh, yeah. No. Absolutely.
He's definitely... But yeah, he did age well pretty well.
Yeah, he looks exactly the same. So I'm like, wait, is he like her? Is he at first, before we got the dynamic, I was like, is he her dad? I don't. It's like her older brother because he looks exactly the same. I forgot that he's like probably 50. So they're having their Thanksgiving dinner, and the stepmom and her are at odds, always like kind of like sniping at each other a little bit, and basically the dad wants to do a wishbone with the son, and so the two kids do it, and there's this terrible voiceover, by the way, I wish that this blows up in her face, and she rips it. And so she wishes that this plan, because this woman hired pilgrims to come. We gotta talk about the plot, but she hires pilgrims to come and basically be in character and talk about the first Thanksgiving, and kind of as like a thing. First of all, what? What?
Yeah,
I mean,
it kind of sets. Yeah,
go ahead, Lydia.
It like kind of sets up like, oh, the stepmom's like just crazy, like one of these like crazy ladies that's like she's just trying too hard or something, and it's like driving the girl crazy. You know, like the daughter is like, it just drives her nuts, and it just makes her hate her.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I know you could go to like Connor Prairie and see reenactors, but I didn't know you hire reenactors to come and have dinner with you.
Right? Yeah, that's pretty extreme.
Well, and and this was, maybe I wasn't paying attention enough, but like the confusing part was that's how I took that. But then they stayed. I thought they were going to come and be like, oh, this is how we did it back in the day.
I mean, I think that was what was supposed to happen, but they were supposed to do it at during Thanksgiving dinner, which nobody would have weird reenactors over at their house at Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, like you would have your family, you'd have your family at Thanksgiving, but that's the plot. But then it gets even weirder because, the pilgrim Ethan and the female one, what's her name? Patience. Yeah.
Patience.
Yeah.
Yeah. They show up and he's just like, so I'm going to be staying for a few days. What? No, what? No, you're not. I'm going to, like she said, she's like, what's wrong with the hotel? Fucking yeah. What's wrong with the hotel?
I mean, also, the parents, man, how are you like, sure, golly gee, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I've only got a 9-year-old kid who this guy is randomly in his room.
Oh, dude, yeah. This movie's so wild with this shit.
I have a question, guys.
Go for it. We might not have the answer.
Were the pilgrims supernatural?
Jamie and I had this discussion earlier.
Because that is like the big question of this movie, I think. It's kind of unclear.
I would say no, only because like there are points where he breaks character. Because if he doesn't break character, Lydia, and he doesn't say that stupid ass comment about fishing for trout while he was in the Mayflower, then the ending of the movie would make sense that it was supernatural. But yeah, no, Jamie and I had a side discussion about that. Like that was my question.
There's also arguments that it would be though.
No.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I
the
don't
wishbone
know.
says that they are supernatural, and he's talking about her wish, but
Yeah.
him
But
not
he
knowing.
doesn't say the right wish.
No,
He says,
and yeah,
yeah.
and not only that, but he, well, in that they are killed. They're all murdered eventually
Right,
as well.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, like Derek said, the trout thing,
Hmm.
and also when he talks about how he used to have a family as well, talking about
Uh-huh.
his backstory. So it's like no, but yes. I don't
Because
know.
when he breaks character, he stops speaking in Old English,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's like, I had a family one time.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's a big point of discussion for this. We don't know. Like, I mean, it's confusing because this movie doesn't make a decision either way. It wants to have its cake and eat it too because it wants us to feel good when they're defeated, but it
Hmm.
also is like, ooh, but it was her fault because of the wish. But you're like, what? First of all,
You're like, that
what?
wasn't really the wish.
No. Now, if the wish would be if it literally blew up in her face because that was the wish.
Yeah.
It's just so all of this whole movie, guys, is fucking ridiculous. Like
It
plot
kind of
wise, it
is,
makes no
yeah.
sense. They're letting the dude fucking build a shed in their backyard by their swimming pool.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a good.
It kind of
He does
seems
have
like,
a reason for that. The dad is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be able to move out of the
Well,
house,
no,
and
that's
yeah.
later when they're talking about building a garage. He's
Hmm.
just building the shed by himself for no reason
Because
dude,
he's
they
in the
build all kinds
backyard.
of shit.
Yeah,
They build
and
all
it's
kinds
like,
of stuff, man.
yeah.
well, first of all, like we talked about, there's that scene where she's. I've got to get something out of the way, guys. I've got to talk about
Okay.
it because it bothers me. It bothered me the whole movie I watched. I touched on it with Derek a little bit. This movie's editing is atrocious. It's obnoxious. The camera moves in the editing are obnoxious.
There were a couple strange
Well,
moves that I noticed, but it didn't bother me that bad, but I did
it
notice a couple
bothered
times.
the shit out of me because there was points where it broke the rule of 180, and then there was points where like so we would for no reason the camera would go whoosh, whoosh. And
Yeah.
there's a scene where the mom and dad are talking on the couch, and the daughter and the boyfriend are talking in the bedroom, and it just
Uh-huh.
pans to their room, pans, and then it split screens for no reason, like we're in fucking pillow talk,
But
and you're
yeah.
like, what is going on? It's like the editor just did a whole line of coke before he edited that scene. Because there's a scene earlier in the movie too when all of the women are talking. When
Oh
when
yeah.
she's telling
Yeah.
them about it, and it's so, like cut, swap, and I'm like, just slow down, movie, fucking play it in a master, cut for coverage, and build a rhythm. What is going on here? It was too much. There's a couple of cool shots, but for the most part, it's obnoxious shots that don't help. The worst is we'll talk about it in a second when we get to that part. But when they go upstairs, or when the boyfriend's upstairs with her, and she hears the noise and she goes to investigate, and Ethan's just laying in old Tate's bed, that would have been the last time he was in the house.
No stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
I'd go, hey,
Agreed.
so I'm going to go. So I would have went and told mom and dad. So, Pilgrim's literally laying in Tate's bed. And I'm pretty sure dad would have been like, well, time to go. At least if I were dad, I would be like, well, time to go.
Hey, man, it was
But-
good knowing you. Don't come back.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that made me question if it was supernatural or not, because also it kind of felt like the parents were like being drugged the whole time or something.
No,
Like there
they're
was like
just
this like
dumb.
there was this haziness that like they all were kind of like stoned or something. Like
Dude,
as
it's
they're
just-
from our perspective even was like we are stoned while we're watching it.
I think what it is this
like
weird phenomenon called bad writing.
bad writing, bad editing.
happens with it. Because, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the fact that, first of all, she sends the one woman to stay with the Catherine, who I guess is like the housekeeper kind of person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she just stays with her for some reason. And, which is weird. And then when they get killed, because there's a bunch of little weird scenes here. There's a scene where our lead comes in. What's her name? Cody. She comes in and she's like, sees that there's a bunch of berries on the table, and apparently Ethan had taken Tate out picking berries. And the mom was like, and she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You let him go with this random guy?" And she's like, "He came back all right." I'm like, "Wow, you are a terrible parent."
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you talking about? I mean, I thought the twist was he's going to be grooming this kid to take over. I thought that was what was going to happen.
I feel like there was a hint of that too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, there's that scene with the crow where he, like, tells him that whole story and then gives him, like, some candy. And I thought, like, the candy was going to be drugged or something.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't. It just was candy. And he's like, "Lord, I didn't have to take everything away from him for him to understand and appreciate."
Yeah, because he got his, like, little riddle right. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, you want another piece of candy?" I can't do that.
You want another piece of candy?
Mamma mia!
And let's go!
I liked that scene, though. I thought that was
I think that's the best scene of the movie. It's a pretty neat little scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite because I think the performances were pretty good. I think his performance was pretty good. But then it just gets weird because the Patience just decides to kill the mom. Like, she makes her like a poison. Kills that the Catherine lady. And then the other guy's attacked by a pilgrim from behind. And then the Patience comes back to Cody's house and says, "Hey, Catherine just ran away with old boy. They're gone." And she's like, "No way, he would have told me." She's like, "Well, she just got back on a bender, I guess, and fled with the kid." What? Okay, sure. All right. And now I'm staying here because I don't like staying in an empty house. Well, because it would be illegal and you shouldn't. But
yeah. Other than that.
So she goes over, and this is the scene, Lydia. This is the one I was talking about. She goes over and she finds the boyfriend's body, and he falls out of the closet 3 times. 3 times he falls out of the closet. I'm like, why? Why does he fall out of the closet 3 times? You don't think we got it the first time?
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, everybody's drugged. Like, we're all tripping while we're watching this.
Yeah, I hated that. I was like, man, the editing in this is just driving me crazy. But what's funny, guys, is Ethan just invites over like fucking 45 other pilgrims.
Right.
And
where do they come from?
They're just like, okay.
Yeah. Like, you would think it would have been like a cult kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, they don't ever actually say anything like that.
I think it's supposed to be because she says something about when it all began when Ethan found them. So I guess like it is Ethan's cult. But again, that doesn't explain how they're supernatural. None of it makes sense. It's just doesn't make sense.
At one point, one of them gets bashed in the head with a rock.
Uh-huh.
And then I think they beat him down eventually with like hammers and shit. But did he die?
And a spoon.
Yeah, they killed him eventually.
Okay. Yeah, because the rock didn't, do the damage. And I'm like...
Well, because he was just a big guy. Yeah.
I understand that, but...
The builder.
Yeah, he was the builder.
Yeah.
Okay, so when she held up that spoon, the entire tone of the movie changed for me. I don't know if it changed for you guys, but I was like, wait, this movie just got goofy as heck
Dude, it definitely gets into the goofy territory, which is weird because I think it's already kind of goofy, but they're playing it so
Yeah.
serious that we're supposed to
Yeah.
take it serious.
I was
And I
taking it
just
real
wasn't.
serious up until that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, man, this movie is dumb. And then that scene happens. They're like, and I was like, well, that's like a Sam Raimi style shot, like a goofiness.
Yep.
And then it tries to be disturbing again, but it's not because you're already into Goofy Land. Because there's all of these pilgrims.
That scene was so weird of them hitting that guy with the spoon.
Yeah, so they kill him with the spoons.
The music and everything.
Yeah, it's like some kind of rock song. And then then the dad gets killed because he falls down out of the second window after being stabbed. Dude, in this last act, this whole like ending part, everybody is captured like 4 times. They get away and are recaptured like 4 times. I'm like, really? Really?
Yep.
Because they get captured. They make her they dunk her into the pool. They do like this whole thing.
That was
They're
cool.
wanting her to repent. After they torture the parents, they torture them with, he gets whipped and she gets branded with a B for blasphemy. And then they're dunking her into the pool, which is one of the shots I think is cool because they have like a camera actually on the thing that goes down with her. So that's pretty neat. And it comes up with her. I like that whole thing. And it's not obnoxiously edited.
Well, there was one shot that was kind of like, wait, was that just someone's cell phone? Like from a different angle?
Oh, I caught that, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you catch that? I was kind of from further away.
Yeah.
You know, like it was like a distant shot. I was like,
hey man, we need to pick up. We're out of cameras.
Yeah.
Go over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad you saw that too.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And so they dunk her, and then she pops, finally, because he keeps asking her to, are you, what is it, grateful? Are you grateful now? And then finally she doesn't answer, so he's like, she's grateful now. And they make them prepare the feast. Now, the little boy, Tate, is hiding this whole time because he's apparently really good at hiding, even though she finds him all the time. It's like a little running bit.
Which is cute.
Yeah, so earlier in the movie, we established that there's these berries that are super poisonous, right? With the green stems. So don't eat those. And so she's smashing the berries. Cody is. Anna, the stepmom, is making something else. And then she escapes because you're going to kill Anna because Cody's saying everything they want to hear. Anna's not. She's like, I tried my best. I love you kids. And he's like, well, then let's get something to catch her blood. And so Cody stabs Patience in the hand and the head with a freaking ice pick, basically.
Yep.
And then the mom throws powder into fire so it flashes.
Yeah.
Cody runs away, finds the boy, and then helps him run away again, and then is immediately captured. So what was the point of that beat?
Because it was cool.
But wouldn't it have been way more economical just to transition from that scene to them taking them to the dinner table because that's what was going to happen anyway? I digress. I just don't think it needs to be there. And then, mainly because they just get captured 3 times in a row. And if they wouldn't have got captured that many times in a row, I wouldn't have minded that beat. But it's like, captured, escape, captured, escape, captured, escape. I'm like, okay, we get it. So what do you guys think?
Jake said the same thing.
Yeah, did he? So he feels the same way.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of this dinner scene? Texas Chainsaw, it's not.
Like the actual dinner scene or like the unnecessary 40 minutes that led up to, not 40 minutes, but like it took forever to get there. They telegraphed the dinner scene with the berries. Now you're waiting for something to happen, but yeah.
Yeah, but like the whole dinner scene itself when the dad is served as dinner and all of that.
Oh, yeah, because that was the natural progression of where they were headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of obvious that was going to happen. Honestly, the berry thing, it totally slipped my mind, and I was so shocked that they were all like poisoned.
So that
Which
first
that was
that
effective
first
for me. I was like,
vomit
oh,
of blood, you're like, what's going on?
yeah. I was like, that freaks me out. So that got me a little bit. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the dinner scene itself is trying to be disturbing when they're trying to, eating the parts of the dad and they're trying to feed it to him, but it comes off as goofy.
It wasn't. It really,
Yeah.
it wasn't that disturbing, really.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't Texas Chainsaw.
Texas Chainsaw. I see what you mean. Yeah,
That's a
definitely
scary
wasn't that.
dinner scene. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
because all the yelling and the noise, and also over this scene they're playing the stupid like song.
Yeah, like Thanksgiving songs.
And I'm like, but yeah, so that happens, and then yeah, so she poisoned all of the berries, essentially. So the wine that they're drinking is all poisoned, or the jam that they're eating or whatever.
Yeah.
So they all start vomiting up blood and puking everywhere, and then Ethan runs out and she escapes, obviously. And they all get together. The mom fights Patience, and then who's also dying because she's poisoned. She ends up killing her with a knife in the throat. And then they have their
which you're like,
fight.
Finally.
Yeah, because she got stabbed in the head like the goddamn Terminator and just kept on trucking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when I thought they were supernatural.
That girl.
Oh, shit.
Dude, Patience is the scariest one, honestly.
She is, man. She drank the Kool-Aid.
She's the one that killed everybody.
Yeah, she is. Well, technically, a pilgrim killed the boy friend because she's attacked from behind by like some pilgrim. Because we see the buckle hat. But yeah, she is. She definitely killed the dad, and she killed the Catherine character. And so,
one thing that we didn't mention.
What do you guys think of the final conference?
Real quick, which I thought was, there's a scene where she goes over to check on the other family to see if they actually left. And, or no,
Yeah,
the boy. No, it was the son. When the son comes up and the lady's churning the butter.
Uh-huh.
We didn't talk about that, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
first off, I was like, what's she doing? And then I was like, oh, she's churning butter. But then it's like all bloody. And I'm like, I don't know what she's churning. I don't get it. But anyway.
Still don't know.
It might be berries.
That was right before he died.
That's what we were like, well, that must be berries. But then it shows the mom dead, and then we're like, oh, it must be like
maybe her blood.
But it's like she didn't look like anything had been like chopped off of her or anything.
No, she just was poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
Just poisoned. Yeah, and then
that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
I didn't get that either. Why she was doing that butter thing.
What do you guys think of the this ending with the final confrontation with Ethan?
It was really confusing. This is the part that like made me question what the plot of the movie was and if it was supernatural. Because first off, whenever he realizes that they're poison, he's like, what did he say? Constance evacuate, or he said something to her to make her vomit. Anyway,
Patience. Yeah.
And he's laying on the ground and he's about to become dead, and he goes, "Oh, but it was your wish." And I'm like, how does he know that? Because he broke character, so he's not supernatural. How was it? That's the scene that if they would have I don't know, done something different, would have maybe made this movie a little bit better. But that's the part that confused me the most.
Yeah, and it wasn't her wish.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
being grateful wasn't part of her wish at all.
I don't think it was being grateful was the point of that. Maybe I got that wrong, but just the fact that it was fucked up because she asked for it to blow up.
Blown up in her face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think his motive was.
But he's there to. But then his motive is to make him grateful. That's nothing about the wish.
His line was like literally like, aren't you grateful now? Isn't that your wish? And it was like, no, that wasn't her wish.
Because then he had a wishbone in his hand, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. like her half of the wishbone was in his hand, so it's like
My vague
confusing.
interpretation.
It's very
confusing.
confusing.
Maybe he was spying on them or something.
It'd have to
Because
be
she had
almost.
already contacted them.
She had already contacted
She
them.
had contacted them somehow.
Maybe
Or
they
did
were
she?
on. She did because she said she did. She
I
already
know,
had
but then-
contacted them, but
She said she did.
she couldn't find anything on the internet about them.
Yeah, because I think she looked on
Right.
Facebook or something like that. She had mentioned
Yeah,
that she
well,
couldn't
I mean,
find
if that's all she did, was like,
But
ah,
she was constantly doing research on her laptop about the Pilgrims. And like that never paid off ever.
no.
She never like found out about them or anything.
Can
Like
we
maybe
talk
there was
about?
like some kind of plot that got missed.
Yeah, can we talk
They're
about?
like, we don't have time for that.
We talk about the fact that the Pilgrim Ethan made her replace all of her fucking light bulbs with candles and to get rid of their cell phones, and they just went along with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What?
This was supposed to be like one dinner.
And the daughter was like,
Like,
"Oh, no,
one
I'm not doing
day-
that, Mom. That's stupid."
Yeah. I would have thrown such a huge fit about all of that. I would have been like, heck no.
No, and the best when they go into the room and the dad's sitting there with all of the pilgrims and they're smoking pipes,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah.
stick around and they're gonna help me build a garage."
Yeah.
She's like,
That's when I was like, they're drugged for sure.
"What is going on?"
I don't know what he's smoking.
At that point, yeah.
Because he
It's
was not
so-
acting
dude,
right.
There's a scene when they were like, "Well, we're gonna go find the kids. The kids are fine. Well, we're gonna get the kids. We're gonna go to the grocery store. The kids are fine." And then all the pilgrims line up in the hall like, we got you." It doesn't make sense because Tate is hiding, but Cody is not even in the house. They don't know.
They
where
don't
she
have the
is.
kids.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're like, they're safe. What are you talking about?
You don't even know where they are.
You don't even know anything about them.
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Guys, I have to admit, I enjoyed watching this movie. I had fun. I thought it was fine. And now I'm like, this movie is terrible.
Yeah, I didn't quite have so much fun watching it.
I had a good time. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was like a masterpiece, but like I was like, this is an entertaining movie. It wasn't like too slow or anything, you know.
We'll get into our ratings, but we'll get into our ratings here in a minute. But let's. I mean, I was kind of bored through watching it, except for the editing that I just couldn't stand. That was also making me hate watch. I'm like, you sons of bitches! Nobody needs to fall out of the closet 3 times.
Yeah, that's like some weird 90s kind of editing.
Yeah, I don't know what and I get Dunstan has this style where they do some of that in like the collector movies where they do like that kind of ramp down kind of speed ramps that's like prevalent in the mid Saw movies, you know, the fast editing.
Yeah.
We talked about it when we did the first Saw. That was very prominent in that time. But that's not what's going on here. This wasn't the speed ramps. This was split screen. Bop, 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 bop. And you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the performances in the movie?
The main pilgrim, when he was in character, he did a good job. I actually think he did a good job as an actor. I think he came across with the performance that he was like told to do. The story did not help him at all, but I thought he did really well. I mean, the supporting cast, I think they did okay.
Yeah,
what do you think he looks like?
He kind of looks like Aaron Eckhart a little bit.
So I thought he looked like
it's like an Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, the guy who played Frank Castle.
And Owen Wilson. Thomas Jane.
No, not Thomas Jane. The one they did after that, Warzone.
Oh, Ray Stevenson?
Yeah, a little bit. Like if he were older and had a different gray beard. Not a gray beard, but...
Who do you think he looks like, Lydia?
I think he looks like Chip Gaines.
He does look like Chip Gaines a little bit. A little bit. He has a little bit of Chip going on.
I really wanted to ask Derek because I remember he compared someone to Chip Gaines on
listen,
season 1.
Patience was great, but she definitely was no Joanna. I can tell you that. Joanna's at another level.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the performances all around were good. I don't have a problem with any of the performances. I think they were all pretty solid. I really like him, especially. I think he was really good. That actor's name is Peter Giles.
Yeah.
He was really good. I think Rain Edwards as Cody did really great. Kerr Smith was really good in it. And then Courtney Hengler is the one that played Anna, the stepmom.
She's been in a couple movies, yeah.
She was great, but
more than a couple. She's been in a lot.
Elise Levesque is who plays Patience, and she was fucking great.
She was.
Yeah, she was scary.
Really great. Yeah, she was really good. The rest of the Pilgrims, not so much.
Well, they were just background.
Well, yeah, they were just there. But yeah, some wacky shit. The writing in this was wacky, whacked out shit.
When gosh, I cannot even think of her name. What's the main character's name? The girl. Cody. I love that name. That's a great name.
Yeah.
When she comes down the stairs and there are like the two women like praying at the table, I was like, oh, that got me. I was like, that's a good like creepy moment.
You know what makes me laugh? I like when she first comes downstairs and they're having the HOA meeting, and she says, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Cody, come on." She's like, "Oh, sorry. What the heck is this shit?"
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think
was like,
she was good.
I was like, what is wrong with him? The dad was acting like wasted or something.
He was wasted. He was drinking. He was
was wasted.
What is
going on?
And that subplot of him like fucking checking the stock market is so fucking stupid.
Like he's a day trader, yeah.
I just gotta say, it
was too much. It was too much.
Too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then,
it was like, yeah, it could have been. What do you think it should have been instead of that?
I don't think
because the whole point was like the phones.
Yeah,
but like it didn't show anyone on their phones except for him.
Yeah, and the point was like that they're not taking, like, I guess he wasn't taking, he was taking his family for granted and spending too much time at his job, which could be anything, but he really wasn't. I mean, he just was checking it here and there, and then, but they made it instead of him like going, "Oh yeah, Dow's doing pretty good." He's like, "Yes, look at the stock market go up and down." You're like, what are you doing?
I mean, you gotta get in there when the getting's good.
I guess. And then with Anna, I guess she tries too hard to please. Because there's that stupid scene when Cody's in the kitchen and she's bent behind the counter, and those two women come and they're like, "Can you believe she got a pilgrim to come over?"
Yeah.
Sure, she tries way too hard. The ex-wife was way better than her. Ta-ta for now. And they just leave. And you're like,
yeah.
Why would you say that so loudly?
When they like, yeah. When they were talking to her and the stepmom walks away and they both just look at her, like look her up and down, like as she's walking away. Like, I was like, are they like robots or something?
No, they're just bad actors.
Yeah, I was like, damn, they just like shut down for a second.
Yeah, overload.
Yeah. I was like, that's the creepiest stuff, is all those like bitchy women in one room together.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and you thought that was going to go somewhere, but it really didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah.
And that's a problem with like, a lot of the subplots, is they don't go anywhere.
Yeah. And that's like, for me, that's the scary stuff. That's what's scary. Like, the way those women act terrifies the shit out of me. I can't handle it.
HOA.
I know.
Dude, the HOAs suck. Just FYI.
Yeah.
And they're expensive.
I bet they do. Thankfully,
There's
I
just
live in a
something so
neighborhood where I don't
creepy
have to
about
worry
it to
about
me.
it. Yeah. That's dumb, is what it is.
Yeah. And we're thankful that for those things, you know,
We're
the simple
grateful.
things.
We're grateful, Ethan. Do you hear us? And then another weird thing is that we touched on a little bit, but the subplot with the boy, I thought for sure they were setting up him grooming the boy to like join his cult, because we also see him reading him passages in the Bible and stuff, so trying to indoctrinate him. But there's no conflict with that. Like, it's not like the boy's like, oh, like I thought it was going to be like, you know, in Hook, where Hook kind of brainwashes Jack into thinking that he's his dad, and then, you know, he has to choose between Hook and Peter Pan, and then he's like, that's my dad. Thought we were going to get something like that, but instead we get nothing.
I 100% agree.
Which I love how I just referenced Hook in this movie. That's great. I got Hook in this episode.
No, I agree.
Run home, Jack! Run home, Jack!
It did seem like... so there was a point when I was watching this, I was like, oh, so like what he's trying to do to this little boy is what he's done to all the other... Well, not all of them. Some of them are older, but I thought that's how he like grew his flock, is what it seemed like. But then,
it definitely seemed like something should have happened with that. Nothing did.
You know, it's fine. It is what it is. It's okay. What do you guys think about this movie? Derek, let's start with you. What are you going to rate this bad boy?
That's what I think of it. Let's see.
Derek gives it one big yawn.
So I thought the acting for the most part was pretty solid. So I'm gonna give it a 5.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the things that lost me, I thought the story sucked, to be honest. By the way, it was 150,000 times better than Thanksgiving. So they're just not. There's a spectrum, right? So in that regard, I mean, this movie, coming off of that, it's kind of a 10. But I'm going to give this movie a 6. I'm going to give this movie a 6 because I do think the actors did a really great job. I really enjoyed the main antagonist in this movie. I thought he did great delivering his lines. The way that you know, he just came across was, I wouldn't want to talk to him. He'd freak me out. Method actor. That's what that guy is. Not really, but like him in this, where they're supposed to be actors. By the way, 6. I'm going with a 6.
What do you think, Lydia?
Now I guess I have to give my rating. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I think a 6 is about right, because I had a good time watching this movie. I thought I feel like I could tell that they had fun filming it. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that's
with the outtakes at the end.
I don't know if that's a redeeming. Yeah, like I don't know if that redeems like the problems though.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess maybe it was one of those where like I was in a good mood, and so it was like I just took it all in as what it I don't know. But yeah, like I thought the performances were really good. I didn't really pay attention to the editing except for like a couple little things, but
I think the performances are great. I like all the performances. I think the story is not very strong. There's a bunch of weird shit, illogical weird shit that happens, which I can overlook if the tone's right. But I think the tone's kind of all over the place with this guy. I don't know what it's trying to be. Don't know what movie it's trying to make. And I think the editing is just unforgivable to me. I just was not for me. That's not to say it's necessarily bad. Some people might like that. I did not. It just did not work for me. I'm giving this guy a 4. It's a 4 for me. I just do not think it's very good. after I watched it, I was just like, okay, that's over. It wasn't like pure disgust, like, oh, it's the worst movie I've ever seen. But I also wasn't like, yeah, I might check that out again. I was like, one and done for me. Watched it once, I'm good.
I just want you guys to appreciate for one moment what I did for you.
You didn't.
Don't
act like it was a selfless act,
It was.
Eric. It was self-preservation.
No.
You son of a bitch. You
could've
couldn't
made
handle
it.
it yourself, so you.
I could have made
Jamie
handle
didn't
could've
learn
done
any
it. I
lessons
could've
from
made
this
it.
movie. He's not grateful.
Be grateful for what I have done for
Jamie's
you.
not grateful.
Yeah. Now you're
Give
Scottish.
thanks. Weren't the Pilgrims
Be grateful for what I've done with you.
Scottish?
No.
Oh my gosh.
They were.
I'm kidding.
I just have to say how freaking funny it was to get that text from Derek. That was
Yeah.
We cannot do
I
this
agree.
movie.
I agree.
I laughed so hard.
I was literally in the middle of editing, last week's episode, and when he texted me, and I laughed out loud. I was like, "Oh my god!"
That was so
I was
funny.
like, are you sure? No.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Sure
what I said was, guys, I can't do it. I'm pivoting. And then I suggested, a different movie. But yeah, I made it through 8 minutes of that.
Yep.
And I was like,
that is so funny. I don't know how much you cut out of the episode. I don't know if you cut out how much we tried to talk you out of picking that.
I did. I cut all of it out. So that way the viewers wouldn't watch the episode and be like, "Oh, we're watching this next week." So now it's just going to be a mystery to them.
And then watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll announce
That's
it.
so
and
funny.
Like, oh, okay.
We tried to talk you out of it for so
long. Well, let me
long.
tell you what, guys, you
Well, we
didn't do a good enough job, because luckily I was the first. Honestly, luckily,
It's because you're stubborn.
for sure. Luckily, I was the first one to start to watch it, and you guys didn't make it through the movie, and you were like,
yeah.
"Fuck you! We watched it. You've got to watch
Now
it."
we're watching it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah said that exact same thing. She said,
So funny.
She said, "Well, it's a good thing you guys didn't start watching it yet." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it is. Like if we started watching it, if we had watched it, then Derek would have.
And I would have, yeah,
because we wouldn't have suffered alone."
I would have done that to you. I would have powered through it. So luckily, I was the first one.
That's great. So, whose turn?
It is your turn.
It's your turn.
It's mine. It's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? There's actually a film I've been kind of thinking about.
Wait,
watching.
before you say it, I just want to say there are 3 Thanksgiving movies that I saw.
There's actually only 2, Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving 3. There's no part 2. There's no part 2.
Are you sure?
Yeah. There might be 3 now. Maybe there's like a third one, but Thanksgiving 3 is actually the second movie.
I'm so confused right now. Go ahead with what I'm going to research this, but go ahead with what you were going to say.
So it's kind of in line with what we just watched. How crazy is that? Okay.
Okay.
So I think for next week we are going to watch the 1989 horror film starring Julian Sands. We're going to watch Warlock.
Yeah. What do you have you ever seen Warlock?
I've never seen Warlock.
Excellent.
I like that movie. Well, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but
yeah.
Is it about a
No,
pilgrim?
it's about a never mind.
It's about the 17th century. You'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about the 17th century and warlocks and witches, which of course you think of the Salem witch trials, So we're doing Warlock, which is streaming on Freevee and Tubi. So that's where you can watch Warlock. Derek, my friend, do you have a story for us tonight? Oh, wait, before we talk about the story, we got to aconize this movie.
Thrill me. Thrill me. Thrill me. Thrill me. Thrill me.
Who would Tom Atkins be, and why would he be the main pilgrim?
Yeah. Yep. It's the charisma.
Would we want to make him the main pilgrim? I mean, that family would have been fucked.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have been, but it'd been I mean, that guy was fine.
I liked
good job, but come on, man. I did too, but Tom Atkins had it. Forget about it.
Man, I don't know.
Forget about it. I mean, the only other role would be the dad, and the dad character kind of is a wet blanket.
Yeah.
The role does. So, give him the main pilgrim, give him Ethan. That way he can showcase his charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Derek, what's tonight's story?
I'm definitely going to make it about my brother because he's a dipshit.
Spiteful.
I am spiteful.
You spiteful son of a bitch.
A really... Man, have I told you guys about the one where he tried to be a ninja and slipped on his sock and shook the house?
Yes, you told us
I told you about the one where he blew the light socket at the skating rink, trying to peep in the girl's bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
I don't think you've told him.
Let's just run through all of them.
I don't think you've told him about the one where he was in the shed.
Oh, yeah. I mean that one. I kind of so.
It's a little dark, yeah.
It is a bit dark. A tasteful way to.
Or when he's driving, you can talk about that one too. When he's driving, as well.
I mean, they kind of. They kind of like lead one. Yeah. So my brother was on drugs. He was on meth.
Copious amounts.
Back in the day. I think he's clean from that now. But either way, so he was telling me a story. He was like, "Yeah, man. One day I'd been up for like a couple of days, and I was sitting out in our uncle's shed, and he was like, I just heard people laughing at me outside of his garage. I was in there, I was tinkering with something, and I'm like, okay." He's like, "Yeah," and I told him to stop. And I told him to stop like 3 or 4 times, and he was like, "Finally, I had enough of it." And I picked up the shotgun and shot through the through the wall of the shed. And I'm like, so if there were someone out there who was laughing at you, your instinct was to shoot them with a shotgun?
Oh my god.
Okay. This was also the same uncle who Jay got the car stuck in the mud and then got a truck stuck and then like threw the keys in the cornfield.
Yeah, that saga. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Classic.
amazing, and we got to put that in a movie sometime. And then another one that's like super related to this. So Jay was like, he's like, "Yeah, man, I was driving back home from I think it was Rochester." He's like, and I was driving home with our aunt's boyfriend at the time. And he's like, I had a conversation with him for like 20 minutes. And then I looked over and he wasn't there. He's like, and I realized I had been driving by myself this entire time. He had hallucinated that
gosh.
This guy was in the car.
And he was driving.
Yeah, he was driving home. Crazy.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs. Well, and
don't do drugs.
They would sit. So they had posted a security camera across the road. So my uncle lived on this like backcountry road. They had pasted it, or not pasted, but put a security camera across the road on top of one of the telephone poles. And they'd be in their house with walkie-talkies, and one of them would be like out in the yard. And they were telling me this, man. And I'm like, you guys are fucking nuts. Because they would be like, Shh, did you see that? Shh, no, what was it? Shh, the bush moved. Are you sure? Heaven forbid that your car broke down and you didn't have a cell phone, and your only like way to save yourself was to, oh man, I broke down in front of this car or this house. I'm gonna go knock on the door and ask to use the phone. Come on, man. I know.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Crazy.
Scary stuff, man.
It is.
Crazy stuff. Also, your brother likes to shit himself, so there's that too.
He did do that, yeah. That did happen. And then went to bed, like one does.
You know, yep. You know
I'll clean it later.
Like one does. Lydia just can't.
I know, and Lydia was like, Derek, I thought you were disgusting because you fart all the time. Lydia, my brother, I got nothing on my brother.
I mean,
You do
farting
fart
is
a
one
I
thing.
you know what? I feel like farting is healthy.
Yeah, I do too. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna deny it.
Yeah.
But I just don't do it.
Jamie's like trying to jump in there, like I fart too.
No, I don't want to throw Derek under the bus like he's the only flatulent one. But I try not to do it like on film shoots around people I just meet.
Never gonna let you live
I
that
mean,
down.
sometimes it just happens, okay? Rude.
You know, one time is one time is like a mistake. Twice, it's a trend, Derek.
Lydia, that didn't happen twice. It only happened one time.
It did, but you did fart on Lydia on accident. You did fart to her room when she was just trying to find props for us.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes
See if I'll ever go find props again.
Yeah, that's the last time. I don't even think we had started the podcast yet.
we hadn't.
So, like, yeah, so it's like she just knew you from us working on stuff, and then she's just in there minding her own
We
business.
were doing the podcast at that time.
Were we?
No, I don't think
No,
we
we weren't. I don't think we.
because we were filming Secret
Yeah.
Admirer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely had though, because I had like that blonde mohawk when we started. I think.
You did. I think it was after the shoot that you did it, or maybe not. I don't remember. Either
I
way,
think
it was early
It was early.
because Derek was.
yeah.
The fact that Derek just stuck his ass into the room and farted is what makes
Lydia was like, "What the hell?" No, you didn't say this, but like, "What did I do to you?"
Yeah, that's just
I was
the
like,
best.
damn it! I was like trapped in that room.
Yeah,
Lydia's
you were
like,
stuck.
It's like
And the worst
maybe
part-
I couldn't
that's
walk
why-
past.
Maybe
Couldn't walk
that's
to the
why he
door.
got me a Killer Clown shirt. He's trying to make up for the times he farted at me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
all of the
I
time.
mean,
Me.
I don't.
was a
I haven't.
big
That's the
time.
only time I've farted. And I didn't mean to do it. Obviously, I have no excuse. I shouldn't have done it. But anyway, it's over now, and I learned from my mistakes, and I'll never do it again. I'll look in the room before I fart.
You know,
If
we
Jamie's in
started
there, I'm
the
letting him go.
podcast,
If you're in there, I will move to a different room.
The first episode of the podcast premiered on January 21st, 2021. And I think or not January, I'm sorry, why did I say January? I meant June 21st, 2021. And I think we shot
Yeah.
Secret Admirer in early June. So I think we started the podcast right after. I think that's when we started shooting. It was because I don't think it was July, right? It was June when we shot Secret Admirer of 2021. So I think it was like right around the same time all of it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, that's
So.
crazy.
That is crazy. And now we're in season 3, and we are about to film the feature version of Secret Admirer, which we will have more news for you very soon. We'll have some casting news and maybe some cool updates. So stick around for that. Comment down below on what you thought about this movie. Also, if you think we should cover Thanksgiving in the future, comment that down below as well. If you want to,
it's killing me
Thanks,
that we're
killing
not
me.
doing it.
Be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us online at HiLaProductions.com. You can follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. You can follow us on Instagram at Screen Bloody Movies. Follow us each on the Twitter machine. You can follow Derek at DDoglyMaster. Follow Lydia at Lydia is Spooky. And you can follow me at Racket. Be sure to watch Warlock for next week. It is going to be a fun time as well. And I hope you guys had a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And I hope you came back for seconds. So until next week, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.